Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, January 11th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. U.S. Department of Interior officials will welcome college football All-American and Rhodes Scholar Myron Rolle to Bureau of Indian Affairs in education schools in New Mexico and Arizona on January 12th and 13th to kick off the new Our Way to Health program. Myron Rolle is college football 2008-2009 All-American safety at Florida State University and a recipient of the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship. Myron is attending Oxford University this school year, pursuing a master's degree in medical anthropology while training for the 2010 National Football League draft. In a joint initiative between the Bureau of Indian Affairs Education Offices and the Myron L. Rolle Foundation, the public partnership will bring an innovative physical fitness and health program developed by Myron himself into the interior-funded American Indian schools. He will be making presentations at the Isleta Elementary School and the Tuba City Boarding School. There is a free screening of The Ghost Riders on Thursday, January 14th at 6:30 p.m. at 111 North Central Avenue, downtown Los Angeles, directly across from the Japanese American National Museum, who is the host sponsor of this screening. The Bigfoot Memorial Ride is an annual 300-mile journey on horseback, which helps the Lakota Nation wipe the tears shed for the massacre of Lakota men, women, and children at Wounded Knee in 1896, and for more recent hardships. Participants convey the ride's spirit of sacrifice and remembrance and the Lakota people's determination to build a better future. Bringing the Circle Together, a Native American film series, is a free monthly film series located in downtown Los Angeles at the National Center for Preservation of Democracy and was established to provide quality documentaries by and about Indigenous people of the Americas and bring together a central gathering place where discussions and awareness of those issues can be shared with the Native community and its supporters. You can get more information on the series at bringingthecircletogether.com. On Tuesday, January 12th, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services will be unveiling two new public service announcement campaigns urging American Indians and Alaska Natives to get vaccinated against the H1N1 flu. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebulus, Director of the Indian Health Service, Dr. Yvette Rabadou, and Dr. Ralph Byron from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention will hold a press conference call to discuss the new H1N1 PSA campaigns and to discuss ongoing efforts to keep American Indians and Alaska Natives healthy during this flu season. A settlement in a lawsuit will require the federal government to pay $650,000 in damages to an Oglala Sioux woman who was sexually assaulted by a U.S. Army recruiter, the woman's lawyer said January 7th. The settlement leaves intact a federal judge's ruling that an 1860 treaty with the Sioux required the government to pay damages for pain and suffering to Lavita Elk. Judge Francis Allegra of the U.S. Court of Federal Claims in Washington ruled in April that Elk was entitled to more than $590,000 in damages under treaty language that requires the government to reimburse Sioux tribal members who are injured by any wrong done by, quote, bad men among the whites or among other people subject to the authority of the United States, unquote. The government appealed Alguera's ruling in the U.S. Court of Appeals, but the settlement was reached before the court could hear the case. The Wisconsin Senate Education Committee has scheduled a public hearing for SB 25 in room 114 south of the state capitol in Madison, Wisconsin at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, January 13th. This bill, authored by Senator Spencer Coggs and Representative Jim Seletsky, will improve the discrimination complaint process as it applies to the use of race-based logos, mascots, and nicknames in Wisconsin public schools. The bill will not automatically mandate change to any district's team, name, or mascot. There are 426 school districts in Wisconsin. 36 have Indian logos logos, mascots are names for their teams. In the year 2009, the National Indian Education Association Convention adopted a new resolution proposed by Wisconsin Indians that again asked schools to eliminate race-based athletic nicknames. This was done in light of the research that has documented that these school policies are psychologically harmful to American Indian students at competing schools, as well as the school using the race-based nickname. Lac du Flambeau Food Drive will honor Dr. Martin Luther King with a National Day of Service in commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King's federal holiday. The Northwoods Niji AmeriCorps Vista volunteers are holding a food drive to benefit the LDF Domestic Abuse Shelter and the Lakeland Area Food Pantry on Monday, January 18th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Donors are asked to stop by the Makadewa Boo, which is a coffee shop, that means coffee emporium, located at the Odawa Place Mall in downtown Lac du Flambeau, to drop off items and donations. Live entertainment, refreshments, and free coffee will be available. The event is part of the National Day of Service in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. This project will be one of thousands that will take place nationwide to honor the legacy of Dr. King. And if you want more information on that program, you can go to nationalservice.gov. University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire's plan for a new student union won't require a tree with historic significance to be cut down after all. The Board of Regents learned January 8th that plans for the $48.8 million union will preserve the Council oak tree and the site around it, which once served as a gathering place for Native Americans and generations of students there at the university. The tree has been on the school seal for decades, but the original one that stood for some 300 years was believed to be the site of peace talks between the Dakota Sioux and the Ojibwe tribes before it was destroyed during a windstorm in 1987. The university planted a replacement in 1990 that is a tiny fraction of the size and bears little resemblance to its magnificent predecessor. And the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe will be holding its 26th annual State of the Band event on Tuesday, January 12th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. The State of the Band address, titled Courageous Leadership, Our Veterans, Active Military Personnel, and Our Community, will highlight the band's priorities and initiatives for 2010 and its accomplishments in the past year. And that presentation will be carried live at IndianCountryTV.com and IndianCountryNews.com as well. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you for joining with us once again. Miigwech.